I'm Tech Bob and welcome to eTech Facebook Live Fridays. And today I'm going to be talking about using the laser machines to engrave. I know we've done a couple videos now on our Facebook Live series on the actual laser for back glass replacement, but today it's going to be focused on the other application, which is how you can make money engraving things with text and different images. So to get started, I'm actually going to switch over. You won't see this camera a whole lot. I just wanted to do it for the intro. But one thing you will see in front of me are different examples of things that you can do laser engraving with, which is what I'm going to be going through today. I have some templates kind of set up. I'm going to show you how to set up those templates as well as common settings and issues you may run into. So I'm going to switch over to my other screen stream. I'm going to jump on live on my phone as well, just so I can see the comments. Live on my phone as well, just so I can see. I will mute it first. There we go. All right, so that's muted. All right, so what we have here is the software showing in the big window, and then on the bottom right, I have my camera showing what's happening on the laser. So what can you do with this laser? The applications are pretty much endless. The only limitation is to the material you're lasering on and the height of it. So the laser platform right here, you probably have a good, I want to say 3, maybe 4 inches of height you can work with. So what that's going to do is limit you to things like flasks or anything flatter than you can't really do tumblers because tumblers sit too high and they're rounded. So anything under that like 4 to 3 inch height works perfectly under here. And those are examples of items I'm going to show you today. So you're thinking to yourself, how am I going to make money with this? The big one is going to be holidays. Anytime there's a holiday, you can market that, hey, you can get a customized charging block or AirPods. If someone brings in their AirPods, you can engrave on AirPods. I might do mine today live because why not? I didn't really plan for that, but it's a good example of something you can engrave. So there's my pair of AirPods. I'll put my name on it just so you guys can see that application. Another thing is flasks is a big one. I've done them personally for some family and friends for the holiday season. Super easy and cheap to get. Some bar keys are like bottle openers. What else I have up there? Keychains, and then like pocket knives. I've done a mix of all these and they're fairly inexpensive. I've actually built a Amazon wish list of items that it's good bulk items to buy to where you can either give out at your shop. The bag of keychains you see on that screen behind you, I think it was like 180 of those bottle opener keychains for, I want to say 30 to 40 bucks. So you break it down, it's very low cost per keychain. And you can put anything from your address to your phone number to your website, you name it on there to help with that advertising. So let's get started with marking some stuff. Let's see, so the first example I have here is a flask. This one says bride on it. So this file right here in particular, this is just a JPEG. Now there's JPEG or PNG. There's two types of ways you can do images. One of them is a vector type file, and that's going to be something that you have to either edit in Illustrator, Adobe Illustrator, or it's something you download just online. I'm going to pull up my browser real quick just to show a couple quick examples of that. So I have, what is this, makerunion.com. They have DXF files, which are pretty cool little packs. You can download all these, and you can use those to mark on pretty much anything. This other one is one I just actually found. I downloaded a couple of these, but pretty cool logos and stuff you can download. A lot of them are free, but what you're going to run into is either there's going to be like a watermark or something on it, or it's not going to be the best quality. If you're going to be doing this professionally, my recommendation would be to buy the packs. I found one earlier. It was like 12 vector images for $2. I mean, that's a pretty good deal when you think about it. Someone took the time to put those together. So that's kind of why they're charging for it. But just, again, a couple quick examples of what you can do there on the finding images side. So I'm going to show how I basically created this. This is the bride one. I'm going to go ahead and make the groom one just to start from scratch. So I'm going to go to upload image or drop picture files is the option. I'm going to go, I already set up kind of a folder path. I do recommend saving these as templates. The software has that capability, which I think a lot of people miss out on. If you make any edits to files, whether it be like the back glass files for phones, or say you're editing a file for like something you're making yourself, it's great to just save it. That way you can open it later and start from where you left off. So this is that wedding pack I downloaded. This is from that makerunion.com. I'm going to open that groom image, and we have it right here. Or actually, let's look at this. Okay, so this is a good example of the difference. You see how the Bride doesn't have a big white block around it? So this is the JPEG file. This file is usable, but not as is. What you would need to do is take this into either Photoshop or something else to remove the background, because you see that white space. What the laser will interpret that as is something to mark, and if it does that, it's not going to look great. You're going to have a big block around what you're lasering. So I'm actually going to delete that. I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to find the DXF version of that. So go back up, go to weddings, and here's the fun part. You don't really know which one it is because you can't see a preview of a DXF file. I'm going to go ahead and look at, so a good way to do this is you can pull up your Explorer, go to that same file folder, but the JPEG side, and I see Groom is Weddings 4. So I'm going to open Groom Weddings 4, and then there we go. It's going to start out pretty massive like this, so you just want to shrink it down. It has a little drag area. We're going to bring that in. And then you see how it's white in the center? If you mark this as is, you're only going to get an outline. Here's another tip. Very easy to fill it in. You have this fill option right here. You click that. Make sure cross fill is selected. You hit OK. And just like that, it's filled in. Another cool feature here, this option, because it's kind of like any other software like Adobe, it doesn't have the label until you hover over it. This place the graph at the origin will center anything you're working on. So if you're having a hard time like getting things squared up, you can do that. I'm going to shrink this a little more, and again, I can hit that option, bring to the center. Now on the laser side, I'm going to hit red light, and you can see where it's showing the sort of preview. I'm going to grab a flask and put it under there. Another important point, just like when you're doing iPhone's back glass, the focus is very important. If you're not telling the laser head how high the item you're marking is at, it's not going to be as effective, or it's just not going to do anything at all. So I'm going to hit that autofocus button. You may hear that right now. And then when it stops moving, it'll be focused. I'm going to place the flask there. Now, as far as alignment goes, you can do a couple things. We actually took the bracket off that comes with the machine. You can use it kind of as a T-square kind of thing, like drafting, and it'll help you align what you are marking at least one way or the other. You can probably figure out another way to do the horizontal versus the vertical. So I have that pretty much aligned right there. I think that's going to be good to go. So I'm going to hit stop, and then two more settings. So we use the same settings here that we recommend on the iPhone. So 7500 is our speed, and then 100 is going to be our power. And then select mark total. I typically start off at 2 when I'm doing a test. Really, really big recommendation here. Do not move the item that you're lasering until you're happy with what the look is. It is very hard to realign text or images, especially once you've already done the mark and moved it. So we're good to go. One thing I'm going to do is turn on my fume extractor. I've had it off up until now just so you guys can hear me clear. Maybe a little bit louder from here on out, but I'm going to turn it on just so it prevents those fumes from kind of going towards me. There you go, you hear that turning on. So I'm going to hit the mark button now. And you'll see it start to mark there on the laser side. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see. Now, I can tell you with this one, I'm not going to be happy with 2. Actually, it's got a little more than 2. We'll just let it go for a little bit. So typically 10 passes is good. What I've noticed is when you do more than that, it just kind of takes off more of the paint. And this is a good example of why we choose certain materials. Your best bet with choosing something to laser engrave is a contrast between what the outer layer is and what the inner layer is. This is stainless steel, so there's not that much of a contrast. Now, if this was a painted flask, like it was stainless steel and then coated with a layer of paint, that would give a pretty good contrast because what the laser is doing is eating away that top layer. I'm going to change this to 5, or not 51, 5. I'm going to hit mark again. And again, notice I did not grab the flask and move it around. That's a real big one because you see all that cursive in there, the wording. It would be very hard to get that back squared up. And again, what I did here was pulled in a DXF file from somewhere else. Typically, you're going to do that for like an image, like a logo or a picture of something you want to do. The software by default has text capability. There is a font, I believe, that's similar to this, but if you want something with like thicker lettering or specialized lettering, you're probably going to have to go out and find an image of that versus doing it yourself, because I have not figured out a way to import fonts into this software, not like you can with like other editing softwares, because again, this software is mainly meant to do the iPhone side of things, but it has some capability with images. So I'm going to stop the marking there, and you can see it's pretty visible there. Camera's kind of weird angle here. There it says groom, so we have the bride and groom matching ones now. So again, as far as ways to make money on this, if you advertise that you can make personalized things for weddings, you can target bridal parties, you can do sometimes weddings have a hard time figuring out what freebie they want to give out, whether it's like a keychain or a koozie or something. If they can find something for pretty cheap that you can laser, you might be able to strike a deal there, which is a pretty cool thing to do. So that's a good example of like an event thing. This next file I'm going to go to, this is like a seasonal thing. So football season's coming up. I mean, we're in Dallas, so Cowboys are our team, or the majority of our team. We have some traders here at the office, but we won't mention any names. So I had a font called Ink Free selected. That's one of the fonts I've used a lot of. Arial Black is one that is a denser font, which, find it, it's right here somewhere. There we go. So let's test it out with this. We're gonna do red light again, and you can see it's doing the mark there. And again, this is a bar key. I think this 6-pack was maybe like $10 or something, and fairly cheap, not super expensive. Oh, sorry, let me minimize my screen real quick. You can't see the software side. So what I did was I changed the font. You didn't see anything I did, so let me go back through that. Arial Black is right here. There's Arial Narrow. You can mess with all the fonts right here. Switch it back to Arial Black though, so it's more pronounced. There we go. I know also that this is too big right now, so what I'm going to do is shrink it down. And again, you can do this by just hovering over the edge. Another cool feature, so when you hit red light, if you're ever just trying to make little tweaks, if you use the arrow keys on your keyboard, you can actually shift the direction of the image left, right, up, or down without changing it like diagonally. So if you just have little tweaks to do, that's the best way to do it. So I'm going to get that as centered as I can. I'm going to go up a little bit. All right, that looks pretty good. Then I'm going to make sure my settings are at 7,500 for speed, 100 for power. We'll do 5 passes, and I'm going to hit mark to start it. Or actually, one more step. Remember, don't forget to focus it, because if not, it won't burn it, or it won't mark it correctly. So while that's focusing, I'm going to maximize my screen again. I'm going to hit red light just to check one more time that my alignment is good. And a lot of this is trial and error. One thing we really recommend is having a backup. So say you're going to be making a lot of things for someone, have a couple that you can like use as throwaways or test, because every material is different and you don't want to do this live on the one item you purchased for a customer. So I'm going to hit stop there. I'm going to hit mark, and it's going to start burning our bar key. And so far I've gone over things that you can either sell or customize for people. The next couple things I'm going to go over are things for your business. So keychains are really, I've mentioned this already, a really cheap one and an easy one to do. Business cards are another big one, and it's super easy to do, which I'll show after we take this one off. So I think I'm going to stop that one there. And there we have the bar key. Again, go Cowboys. Hopefully we do better this year. So there's that customized. We'll move on to the next item, which I mentioned is going to be keychains. So cool thing on the keychains, if you notice my software right now, I have 10 different keychain sort of templates set up. You can do something like this and kind of like or cut a piece of cardboard or foam and make a template to where you can make 10 of them at the same time, or 20, however you can fit on here. Now, I have messed with this. I'm not going to be showing the bulk capability today. I think we have a TikTok video on this, so if you're interested in that, go over to our TikTok account and you can see that one there. I'm going to show one of them though being done today. So easiest way to just get one of these to burn, what you're selecting is what's going to mark. So you see how that's the only one highlighted. Now if I did this, it was going to want to burn everything. I don't want that. I just want this one in the top left. I'm going to hit red light and you can see it over there. Now it's actually pretty far up there, so I don't want that one. I'm gonna let's do this one since it's closer in. There we go, perfect. And again, we wanna make sure we focus our laser. So we'll hit the autofocus button. And etechparts.com is something we put on there. We did a trade show a couple months back, and these were pretty good sellers, or not sellers, they were free, pretty good giveaways, because it's dual function, it's a bottle opener and a keychain, and it has our website on it. So that's the easiest thing to put on there. As far as size of text, we found the smaller you go, the less resolution you get, the less detail, but it is doable. This is a good size because it takes up the whole keychain. So I'm going to hit red light again. Get that pretty close to centered right there. And when it's just text, you'll see it a lot faster. That's 3 passes. Oh, actually I didn't have this large, so I'll do that one more time. Whoops. So there's the already burned. Let me grab another one just to show you how fast this thing goes. So hit red light again. And the making them out of bulk came from doing these one by one. We realized, oh, we could do this a lot faster if we did 10 at a time. So that's what we ended up doing. And there you go. That's like 3 passes. So that's good. And just like that, keychain. So you took something, personalized it, now you can give it away, or you can even sell them if you're doing them for like a company event. That's another big one. If you have really big companies near you, like banks or gyms or something like that, and they want something to be able to give to their customers, maybe when they sign up or something, you can make them literally from something you buy off Amazon. And this way, it's someone local. They're not having to like outsource it. You can maybe even show them a mock-up of what you would do for them, because they're near you. And that's where the small business aspect really comes into play, because there's a million people ordering things personalized online, but I've always been the one to want to see something customized in person before getting it and then having to return it, do that whole thing. This laser is a perfect way to do something like that. So that's keychains. Let's go over business cards next. Have it right here. So I threw this template together. Let me minimize that just real quick. And again, this is a very basic template. You can choose the font, the size of the text, what you want on there. You can put a logo on there. You can do, this is just one side of the card. You can do something else on the back. And all you need is this right here. This is a business card blank, or a metal blank is what it's called on Amazon. Like I mentioned, I built a wish list with all the items that I'm marking today. We'll link that in the comments of this video once we finish it today. And if you're curious, buy a couple of those packs and test it out. I'm gonna focus that laser. While it's doing that, I'm gonna make sure everything is selected here. And the biggest thing when you're doing a business card is alignment. So you just have to tweak with it a little bit. I think I've messed with this more than I would like to admit, so I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. But you just have to tweak it left and right until you get that alignment perfect. I'm gonna hit red light now. Oh, actually, select all that. Something weird is coming up there. Huh. Let me try one more template. Alright, that one's fine. There we go. So I hadn't actually never seen that come up before. That was a good example of something the laser can do. What it was telling me is it didn't have the configuration settings matched to it, so I saved the template, but I must not have saved the configuration. All it asked is to match that up. Once I did that, it was able to do the red light. So I'm gonna go ahead and line it up now. And just Trying to get it as close as I can. All right, that's pretty good there. I'm gonna hit stop, and I'm gonna hit mark now. Let me maximize that other screen. And for cards, I would say 1 to 2 passes is okay. Honestly, looking at this one pass is fine. The laser is taking a layer of material away, so it's not like it's going to smudge away. The text isn't. The paint may come away over time on the sides, but it shouldn't go anywhere. So I'm actually going to stop it there. And that's 1 pass. Again, pretty easy way to make business cards. I think these blanks were like a 100 pack for $10 if I'm not mistaken, and they come in this cool little pack, so you can even use this as like your business card holder if you want to. One other thing I've used these for is gift tags. I went kind of crazy last Christmas, and I actually put the to and from on something like this. You can also use these as like luggage tags. I would recommend filing the edges down a little bit though, because these are a little bit on the sharper side. They've filed them slightly, but I wouldn't want anyone getting hurt with these. So that's the business card application. And let me see what else. So the next thing I have is asset tag. So I've kind of already messed with this back cover. You can see as an example. If you have a school district or an enterprise in your area that wants to tag their devices to prevent theft, or just they want to help with managing them, they want to put serialized numbers or IDs, tags, anything like that, or just, hey, this is a property of our district or of our company, you can do that with the laser machine. So this template I have pulled up is just a couple lines of text. If you can go as far as like if they can give you their logo vector file, you can put that on there too, and that's an even easier way to do it. But as far as putting this on here, what I'm going to do is focus to that back cover first. You can see I've already lasered it on the bottom side a little bit. I'm going to do this a little bit smaller, so you can see it live. I'm going to increase the size of my window, and I'm going to hit mark. And you can tell it's pretty visible on this because it's painted white, but the under layer of the plastic is gray, so it really pops on this. And not everything is going to be like this. I've noticed that if it's white paint on white plastic, it won't pop as much as something like this. Things that are black, like if you're engraving the back of an iPhone or something like that, usually not as visible. If you're engraving back glass, you can definitely see it more on a black version because it takes away the paint that you can see underneath the glass. So I'm going to stop it there. And that was just 1 pass and pretty visible. And you can see that giant floppy disk. That was me messing with the images. A couple other things I'll show. Let me see. So this is one of those files from the vector sites. So if anyone recognizes this is a Pokemon, yes, I recognize it. I'm going to move that over and just show you an example of it engraving a vector file. That's taking too long. Let me move it manually. All right, there we go. It's cleared over there. Hit mark. And what you'll notice when you're dealing with images, comparing PNG, JPEG, or vector files like DXF, SVGs, when you're dealing with a vector file, the lines are always way more detailed and pronounced. So let me bring that up a little bit. You can see how the lines are very fine compared to this floppy disk. I don't know if you can tell, but like the arrows, it's a little bit fuzzy. So the floppy disk is an image. I think that was a JPEG I did. The Voltorb thing is a vector file. So definitely a lot clearer on that side. What else did I have pulled out? I had the shape of Texas, which this one I found too. This one's cool if, say, you're doing customized like school things, so colleges, things like that. It's back to school season, so if you have a college near you and you want to reach out about doing some custom stuff for them, that's a pretty good idea to kind of bring in that business. And hey, while you're talking about custom stuff, you can see if they have any broken phones or tablets, which, I mean, that's the whole point of the business, but this is a good extra thing to kind of bring in that incremental revenue. All right, and then last thing, because I believe I've covered everything I wanted to show as far as the custom text, I'm going to engrave my AirPods Live just so you can see that application. So I'm going to do it on the front side. Again, I'm going to focus it first. And on the software side, I'm just going to do my name. So I'm going to hit text, click right here. By default, it'll do that text thing. I'm going to type full name. Application is what makes the text transfer from this window to the actual drawing area. And again, I mentioned earlier, see how right now it's not filled in? That would just be an outline. So I'm going to hit fill. Now it's filled in. This is probably going to be way too big for the AirPods, so let me see what it looks like right now. Yeah, that's massive. That's not going to fit on the AirPods like that. So let's shrink it down. It's probably going to be a good amount for it to fit. All right, that looks pretty good. Get this aligned. Let me make sure my left to right is good. All right, that works. And you could just do name in bigger letters, or last name, or first name in bigger letters, last name in bigger letters. You could even split this up and put the name underneath it. The way to do that, you can either do this right here, you hit enter, and then application will break the text up. The problem with that is the centering isn't exact, but actually I'll do that instead. I can make it a little bit bigger. Let me align it one more time. There we go. So that's good. Get my settings 100 and 7500. I'm gonna do 2 passes and I'm gonna let it mark. Let me maximize this window before I do that. This time I remembered. And on AirPods, because it's just a white coat of paint, it shows up pretty easy on the first couple passes. So I think I stopped a little before the end of the second pass, but super easy to do that. And this is great around Christmas time when it seems like everyone is getting a pair of AirPods. Advertise that, like AirPod engraving. You can either charge for it or say free with repair. So if they have something broken, you can kind of bundle that together. And actually, so don't take offense to my like dingy AirPod case, but I engraved this a long time ago, and it's finally starting to peel off. You can kind of see my name on there. So I had engraved them. I thought I had engraved them. I just didn't see it on the actual AirPods. But that's a quick way to do it. Another one that we've seen people do with these lasers, and I've tested it here as well, is engraving charging blocks and cables. If you're in a household that has like people with 5 different iPhones and everyone's fighting over a charger, and it's like, oh, that was mine, no, it's not. You can engrave it with your initials. Initials is the easiest one because you don't have a lot of space on the lightning head or on the other USB side of the block, but a quick way to kind of tag your own personal items. But pretty sure that's all I had items-wise today. Showed the asset tag management. You know what? As a bonus, I have... So here's a pocket knife. When you're working with these, you can do one of 2 things. You can engrave the blade, and the blade's not always recommended because there's a coating on here that prevents like rust and the blade from dulling over time. You can do that, or you can engrave this area right here. I actually don't know what this material is. It looks like it's a wood, so let's test it. So I'm gonna autofocus it. Actually, it looks like it is focused. All right, it's already focused to that. I have to like prop the knife up a little bit because it's hard to fall down. I'm gonna make this an E-Tech knife, so I'm just gonna put the word E-Tech. See where that's at. All right, so it's a little bit over there. Let's move it over. And there is some patience required to this. You have to take your time when figuring out the sizing and the location. And like I mentioned earlier, it's good to have a backup item so you don't mess up the one that you're given to the customer. All right, so that looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and hit mark. We'll see how it marks it. Yeah, so it looks like this material, something with it that's not gonna allow me to mark it. See if it, yeah, I don't see anything under there. So we'll go on, do it on the blade just so you can see what it looks like there. Let me hit red light. Autofocus. All right, looks like it's set. Let's do it now. All right, and there you can see the blade engraved. So again, when it comes to materials, it's all trial and error. You're gonna have to figure out what works and what doesn't. I've probably put 100 different things under this laser machine to see what would mark, what would not mark. One thing we're still trying to figure out is glass, and we've seen a couple sort of theories for it on how to do it. There's like soap or other coatings, which we might have an update to this video, like a part 2, once we figure out how to do glass and other materials. But I think this is a pretty good amount of stuff that you can engrave with. If you have any questions related to the items we did today or settings or anything like that, let us know. I didn't see any comments unless I missed them. Oh, any would personalized keychain. All right, so Brett's coming in with the help because I totally forgot about the coupon code. So if you use code LASER at checkout, I forgot how it's all weekend. Is that right, Brett? All weekend, I think. He's gonna catch up. There it is. I can see him. He just can't. I can't hear him. So the code is valid all weekend. You get 50% off our Premium Plus line of screens, and that was 50, not 15. So a pretty good deal on that. I think that's the best deal we've had on the Premium Plus line, and that's going to be your full assembly screens where they come with the camera and the back plate. So definitely take advantage of that. But again, that's all we had for today's stream. I don't remember what we're doing next Friday just yet, but you'll see that event go out here either end of day today or next Monday, Tuesday. But I hope everyone has a great weekend, and we'll see everyone on next week's stream. Tech Bob out. Actually, Tech Bob out when you can find the Facebook Live button. There it is. All right, now Facebook. I can't even talk anymore. Tech Bob out for real this time.